You open your eyes to a world that hasn't heard of you yet. A world still stretching, still humming, still unfinished. A world where even the wind feels older than memory. It brushes lightly across your cheek now, a slow, cool breath moving through trees so tall they seem to lean forward just to look at you. The ground beneath your feet is soft and damp, a carpet of decaying leaves and moss that has been building layer by layer through ages you will never see. You take a quiet step, then another. The forest does not acknowledge you, not yet. This is the first thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Everything here is older, larger, heavier, slower. The world is not shaped for your kind. Your footprints will take thousands of years before they matter. And yet, you walk anyway. That's what humans do, long before they become human. You move, you explore, you push into the unknown with nothing but instinct and a small, warm flame inside your chest that refuses to go out. You breathe in. The air tastes of wet bark and cold soil, clean, sharp, untouched. Far above you, a bird calls, a long, flute-like cry that echoes through the green corridors of the forest. Something about the sound feels ancient, familiar, comforting. You pause for a moment, letting your breath fall into rhythm with the forest's heartbeat, slow, measured, calm. It's peaceful here, almost unnervingly so. Even the insects seem to hum more softly. And for a time, just a moment, you feel small in the best possible way. Like the world around you is big enough to hold you gently. You take another step. A stick snaps under your foot. It's a tiny sound, but in this quiet, it feels like a shout. You freeze. Not in fear, at least not yet, but in awareness. A soft, attentive silence blankets the forest. It's the kind of silence that has weight, shape, meaning. You realize the forest wasn't empty. It was simply listening. You look around, heart slightly elevated but not racing, not yet. The light filters through the canopy and long, golden shafts that stir with dust and drifting pollen. Your eyes follow one of the beams to the forest floor, and that's when you notice it. A print. Large, deep, far too deep for anything you've encountered. You crouch, placing your hand beside it. Your whole hand fits inside the impression with room to spare. A second print lies ahead, and a third, and each one is spaced impossibly far apart, as if whatever made them walks with strides longer than your entire body. You swallow softly. This is the second thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Sometimes the earth remembers the footsteps of creatures long before you ever notice their bodies. A distant rumble shakes a few leaves loose above you. It's subtle, less a sound and more a tremor, like thunder pretending to be shy. You stand slowly, sensing the forest change around you. The air thickens. The birds stop calling. The silence that follows is no longer peaceful. You grip your makeshift spear, not in aggression, but in instinctive readiness, because something is coming. Not quickly, not hunting, but moving with the slow, unstoppable confidence of a creature that has never once needed to look over its shoulder. Another distant thud, then another. A rhythm, massive, measured, older than anything you can imagine. You remain still, letting your breath soften. In, out. In, out. A calm before something. Not a storm. Storms are fast. This feels more like the arrival of a mountain that decided to start walking. The trees ahead shift. Not rustle, shift. Branches bow under their own weights as something enormous presses between them. For a moment, you see nothing. Then a shape moves, wide as a hut, tall as your fear, and emerges into the filtered light. A Deinotherium, a giant. Not a mammoth, though at first glance it resembles one. This creature is older, heavier, and stranger. Its tusks curved downward like the arms of a crescent moon, swinging beneath its chin in a shape your mind doesn't immediately understand. Your breath catches, but not out of terror, out of awe. Because this is not a monster. This is a piece of Earth's memory walking on 4 legs. Steam rises gently from its massive body as it exhales, each breath a cloud drifting in the cool air. Its ears flick slowly, its trunk sways in loose, thoughtful arcs, tasting scents you can't detect. Its skin is marked by time, thick, wrinkled, almost ancient enough to crumble into dust if touched too harshly. You don't move, not because you are petrified, but because some part of you senses that stillness is respect here. The Deinotherium steps forward, and the ground trembles softly beneath your feet. The vibration moves through your bones like a warning or a greeting. It lowers its massive head, sniffing the air, not at you specifically, simply through you, as though humans are too small to register as more than part of the scenery. You realize something then. In this world, you are not the protagonist. You are not the center. You are one more creature in the forest trying your best to survive. And oddly, the thought calms you. Because here, your fears aren't personal. They're universal, shared by every living thing with a heartbeat. The Deinotherium exhales, a deep, rumbling sigh that rustles your hair and carries the scent of crushed leaves and old bark. You take a slow step backward, then another. No sudden movements, no panic, only the quiet understanding that some giants are best admired from a respectful distance. It lifts its trunk again, turning away from you, and just like that, you are forgotten. The creature lumbers off, each step shaking loose flecks of golden dust from the treetops. The rhythm of its footsteps fades a little more with every stride. Eventually, the forest settles back into its own steady heartbeat. A breeze returns. Birds begin to call again. The world breathes out. But you remain still for a long moment, letting the tension slip out of your shoulders one muscle at a time. When you finally inhale deeply, the air feels cooler, gentler, kinder. This is the third thing you learn in the Age of Giants. You survive not by fighting the world, but by walking softly through it. You turn back toward the deeper forest, toward whatever awaits beyond the next hill, the next shadow, the next breath. You're still small, still fragile, still learning, but every step you take is a step further into prehistory. And somewhere inside your chest, that small warm flame burns a little brighter. You begin walking again. The forest shifts, the light dims, and far in the distance, something else stirs, awaiting you, watching, listening. But that is for the next section. For now, you breathe, you walk, and the world of giants opens its first door to you. Night falls differently in the ancient world. Not in a crash of sudden darkness, but in a slow, deliberate descent, like a great curtain being lowered by unseen hands. The dim blue light fades into violet, then into deeper shades of charcoal, and the forest around you shifts into something quieter, older, watchful. You sense it before you see it, the way the world seems to exhale when the sun disappears. You pause beneath a broad, moss-covered tree as the air cools around you. Mist gathers low to the ground, swirling gently around your ankles. A soft breeze carries the earthy scent of damp soil and distant rain. Somewhere above, a nightbird gives a low, trembling call, 3 notes falling like drops of water. This is the 4th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Night is not the opposite of day. It is the world revealing its other face. As the shadows lengthen, you seek shelter, not out of fear, but out of instinct. The forest at night is full of voices, and not all of them belong to creatures who wish to be seen. But even now, even while caution prickles beneath your skin, curiosity leads your feet. You follow a faint, winding trail toward the base of a rocky outcrop. The stones glow faintly in the moonlight, pale and smooth, like bones rising from the earth. At their base yawns a narrow, crescent-shaped opening, a cave. You stop a few paces away. You listen. The world outside is hushed, but not silent. Crickets pulse in rhythmic waves. Leaves whisper softly as wind drifts past. The distant crack of a branch echoes like a memory. But from the cave, nothing. A perfect, deliberate quiet. It draws you in, not like an invitation, but like a question. What sleeps inside the earth? What breathes in the dark that refuses the light? You step closer, letting your hand graze the cool stone wall. You crouch near the mouth of the cave, feeling the air inside brush against your skin, dry, still, carrying the faint scent of dust and old fur. You lean in. The darkness swallows your gaze. The world narrows. Your heartbeat slows to a steady, careful rhythm. You raise a burning twig from your small fire, just enough light to see the ground inside, just enough warmth to keep the night at the edge of your thoughts. The flame flickers, and in that trembling light, you see them. Bones. Small ones scattered like forgotten toys. Rabbits, birds, perhaps something larger, picked clean by sharp teeth. The closer you look, the more you recognize patterns. Skulls with puncture wounds, ribs cracked open, vertebrae snapped with clinical precision. Something lives here, something that collects the silence. Your breath grows shallow, not panicked, but attuned. You take a careful step inside, eyes adjusting to the dim glow. The cave ceiling arches low, then rises into a hollow chamber where shadows move like living creatures in the flickering light. Your foot rests on something soft. You stop. You lift a twig toward the floor. A pelt. Thick, coarse, recently shed. Hyena. Not the spotted hyenas of future Africa. No, they're older, larger cousins. Cave hyenas. Powerful predators built to crush bone and outlast the cold with jaws that can shear through antlers like branches. You swallow quietly. The smoke from your burning branch curls upward, tracing the stone ceiling like a whisper. You should leave, but you don't. Not yet. Curiosity, as always, holds your heel a moment longer. You ease further into the chamber, breath calm, movement slow. The air shifts. Not a breeze, a breath. A low, almost imperceptible growl hums through the stone. Soft, rumbling, too deep to be your imagination. You turn your head slowly. 2 eyes open in the dark. Amber, wide, reflecting the flame in your hand. A shape detaches from the shadows behind them. Broad shoulders, powerful limbs, fur rising in jagged bands along its back. More shapes stir behind the first, their bodies forming silhouettes that blend into each other. Not one hyena, a whole clan. And they were here long before you stepped inside. Your chest tightens, not in fear, but in control. You do not freeze, you do not gasp, you only breathe. Slow, steady, measured. Because this is the 5th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. To survive the night, you listen with your whole body. The largest hyena pads toward you, head lowered, teeth gleaming faintly. Its paws make no sound on the stone. Its breath smells of meat and earth and time itself. But its eyes are curious, evaluating, intelligent. You step back with deliberate calm. No sudden movements, no radiant panic. only respect. You lower your burning twig slightly, not threatening, not challenging, letting the light fall between you like a boundary drawn by fire. The hyena pauses, a small miracle. Its nostrils flare, taking in your scent, your sweat, the faint charcoal on your fingers. It tilts its head in a manner almost dog-like, but heavier, older, more complicated. Behind it, another growl rumbles, a warning not meant for you, but for the hyena in front, urging caution. You take another step backward, keep your body sideways, smaller, less imposing. Another step. The cool night air brushes your back. Outside, you don't turn your back to them. Not yet. The clan watches, heads low, bodies tense but unmoving. You lower the twig to the ground outside and extinguish it in the soft soil. The smoke trails upward, twisting like a ghost before fading completely. The hyenas blink at the sudden darkness. Then, one by one, they retreat into the cave, slipping back into the shadows like memories you're not meant to keep. The leader's eyes linger on you for several breaths, then vanish into the black. Silence returns. Not the tense silence from before, a gentler one, like the forest is closing a chapter. You exhale slowly. A soft tremor leaves your muscles, not from terror, but relief, gratitude. You survive the dark not by running, but by understanding it. You straighten your posture, letting your breath steady you. The moon is higher now, silvering the tops of the trees. A thin mist crawls across the ground, curling around your legs like a companion that knows the path ahead. You walk, not quickly, not fearfully, just steadily as the night shifts around you in shades of blue and black. And somewhere deep in the cave behind you, the hyenas settle, their growls fading into soft breathing, predators resting in their ancient home. You continue down the forest path, and ahead, in the distance, something massive moves through the darkness. Not a threat, not yet, but a presence, a shape that will soon teach you the next lesson the ancient world has to offer. But for now, you breathe, you listen, and you walk. The night reveals its second face to you, and you are ready for whatever waits in its shadows. The forest thins as dawn stretches across the sky, painting soft streaks of pale gold and muted rose across the earth's quiet surface. You step out of the trees and into a sweeping, frost-kissed meadow. Cold air gathers on your skin, crisp, clean, ancient. For a moment, you simply stand there, letting the morning settle around you like a blanket of light. The world feels wider here, open, untamed, as if the land itself is waking alongside you. You take a deep breath, and the air fills your chest with a cool clarity that almost aches in its purity. Your breath escapes in a faint white cloud, a gentle reminder. You are entering a colder kingdom now. This is the sixth thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Cold doesn't silence life, it transforms it. You step forward through the frost-crusted grass. Each blade crunches softly beneath your feet, a delicate sound that echoes in the stillness. A light wind trails across the meadow, carrying hints of snow, distant water, and something else. Something large. You feel it before you hear it, the faint, rhythmic tremor running through the ground. Slow, heavy, comforting even. And then, in the pale light of morning, you see them. At first, it's just shapes in the mist. Massive silhouettes drifting through the cold fog like mountains carried on legs. Then the mist thins, and the world reveals its giants. Woolly mammoths, an entire family of them, moving in a loose, gentle procession across the meadow. Their fur sways in the wind like cascading waves of dark, shaggy grass. Frost clings to the tips of their long hair, sparkling like starlight trapped in fur. Their curved tusks gleam softly in the new dawn, ivory arcs rising and falling with their quiet, patient steps. You freeze, not in fear, but in awe. Your heart softens, warmed by something older than memory. A calf, small by mammoth standards, trots beside its mother, trunk curling curiously as it sniffs the cold air. It stumbles on a patch of icy ground and lets out a muffled squeak. The mother nudges it gently with the tip of her trunk, a tender reassurance. The calf presses closer, and together they continue. The sight presses a quiet, almost aching softness into your chest. Because even in this world of colossal predators and ancient terrors, there is gentleness. You take a slow step forward, but remain a respectful distance away. The wind is in your favor. Your scent drifts backward, away from them. The mammoths pause anyway, ears fluttering, trunks tasting the air. But they don't turn toward you. They simply acknowledge your presence and accept it. Something inside you loosens. For a long moment, you simply watch, letting the movement of these giants lull your heartbeat into their slow, steady rhythm. The calf's soft huffs, the mother's deep, resonant breaths, the crunch of snow under their feet. It feels like standing beside time itself. You take another breath, deep, grounding. But the world, like always, shifts. A sound rolls across the meadow, heavy, scraping, rough, like stone dragged against stone. The mammoths halt all at once, trunks rising in unison. A ripple of tension moves through the herd, subtle but unmistakable. You follow their gaze toward the far side of the clearing. A shape pushes through the frosted brush, low, broad, armored in hair so thick it looks like a living boulder. Its horn gleams faintly, curved like a blade sharpened by winter itself. A woolly rhinoceros. Unlike the mammoths, this creature carries its world on its shoulders, massive muscles bunching beneath a hide thick enough to turn aside a predator's teeth. Its eyes are dark, urgent, fierce, and its breath, visible in dense clouds, bursts from its nostrils like steam from a ruptured vent. It snorts once. The sound echoes through the meadow like a warning shot. The mammoths shift, but do not run. They form a loose wall around the calf, trunks intertwining protectively. The rhino stomps forward, scraping its horn against the frozen ground. Frost sprays like shattered glass. You stay perfectly still. Your breath slows. Your muscles soften, not from weakness, but from control. This is the seventh thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Not all danger roars. Some of it snorts and storms through snow. The rhino swings its head in a wide arc, scanning the meadow. It is not hunting. Woolly rhinoceros aren't predators, but they are wary, territorial, easily provoked. And today, the path of this solitary mountain on legs intersects with a family that has no intention of moving aside. The two forces face each other in perfect stillness. Then, very slowly, the matriarch of the mammoth herd steps forward. She is enormous, tusks long and sweeping, fur thick with age and frost. She lifts her trunk and exhales a deep, resonant sound. Not a threat, not a challenge, a statement, a boundary. The rhino paws the ground. Snow sprays upward. Its breath quickens. The tension thickens around you, squeezing the air. You take a silent step backward, positioning yourself behind a cluster of frost-coated bushes. Your heartbeat is calm, steady, aligned with the rhythm of the earth beneath you. Because panic, you've learned, has no place in the land of giants. The rhino lowers its head. The mammoth matriarch stands taller. For an eternal moment, the world narrows to just these two titans. Winter forged against winter born. Strength staring strength in the eyes. The rhino exhales, stamping once more. Then turns. Not quickly, not dramatically, just a slow, deliberate pivot, its horn cutting a graceful arc through the morning air. It trudges away, snow swirling around its massive form. The mammoths wait, still, silent, measuring. Only when the rhino shape disappears into the pale horizon does the herd release a collective breath you can almost feel. You exhale with them. The matriarch nudges the calf. The herd continues their steady march across the meadow. You remain in your hiding place for a few breaths longer, letting the tension dissolve from your muscles, letting calm return like warmth. The sun rises higher, melting frost into sparkling droplets. You step out from the bushes, watching the mammoths fade into the distance. Slow, steady, ancient silhouettes disappearing into the light. This is the 8th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Some mornings are made not of danger, but of witnessing the fragile balance that keeps the world breathing. You begin walking again, guided by the soft crunch of snow beneath your feet. The air grows warmer as you move downhill, away from the frost-laden meadow and towards a valley where the scent of grass returns. Behind you, the cold kingdom settles. Ahead of you, another world waits. Something new, something wild, something watching. But for now, you breathe, you walk, and the ancient earth hums quietly beneath your feet. The morning light follows you as you descend from the frost-touched meadow and into a landscape softer, greener, warmer than the one you left behind. The air changes first, less sharp, more fragrant. The scent of damp earth mixes with wildflowers and budding leaves, carried on a breeze that feels gentler than the cold winds of dawn. Your feet touch soil instead of frost now, dark and rich, soft beneath the thin layer of fallen leaves. The sound beneath your steps changes too, no longer the brittle crack of ice, but a muted crunch that sinks into the quiet breaths of the forest. Birdsong filters through the trees in delicate threads, weaving the stillness into something warm and living. You pause. You breathe in. And the world feels gentle. This is the 9th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Even the earth has moods. You walk forward, deeper into the forest's embrace. The air is cool but warming fast, the sky glimpsed only through gaps in the green canopy. Light falls in scattered beams, turning dust motes into drifting sparks that swirl around you. It's peaceful, almost dreamlike. You let your shoulders loosen. Your breath steadies. Your awareness softens. But peace, you've learned, is rarely the whole story. Somewhere ahead, a soft thump resonates through the ground. Then another, and another. Not heavy like mammoths, not rhythmic like a herd, more deliberate, measured. Curious, you approach the sound, letting the forest guide you. As you move between the trees, the air shifts around you, carrying a scent unfamiliar yet strangely comforting, musky, warm, earthy. You slow your pace. Your heartbeat quiets. The forest grows still. And then you see him. At first, he seems carved from sunlight itself, standing in a patch of glowing gold, head raised, breath drifting in slow, white whorls. An Irish elk, a name he will never know, a name humans will give him long after creatures like him vanish into memory. He is enormous, towering above any modern deer, his shoulders rising nearly to your chest. His fur is a rich golden brown that ripples with every subtle movement. His eyes are dark and calm, carrying a depth of quiet intelligence. But it's his antlers that stop your breath. They rise like the branches of a living tree, broad, sweeping, impossibly wide. Each antler spans nearly 12 feet from tip to tip, an astonishing, breathtaking display of nature's extravaganza. Light glints off their polished surfaces, each beam creating a tiny halo around his silhouette. You stare entranced. He stands perfectly still, ears flicking, sides rising and falling in an even rhythm. He doesn't see you as a threat. Not yet. Not unless you disrupt the calm he carries like a mantle. You take a silent step forward, letting your breath fall into sync with his. Slow, measured, peaceful. The elk lowers his head, grazing lazily at a patch of young ferns. His antlers sway with a simple motion, slicing arcs of sunlight through the air. You feel a gentle warmth in your chest, something between admiration and awe. This is a creature built for beauty, not battle. But nature rarely concerns itself with practicality. The elk lifts his head suddenly, his ears rotate sharply, his posture stiffens, not towards you, but towards something deeper in the forest. You hear it too, a rustle, a snap of twigs, a low, deep grunt. Another elk emerges from the shadows, larger, older, elder, antlers spanning wider than the first, like a living crown of branches weathered by storms you've never witnessed. The two lock eyes, and the forest holds its breath. This is the 10th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Beauty is sometimes a burden, a challenge, a weapon, a declaration. The younger elk lowers his antler slightly, a gesture halfway between deference and defiance. The elder responds with a slow, deliberate tilt of his massive head, antlers scraping gently against the tree trunk with a sound like branches cracking under snow. The younger one hesitates, then, fatal bravery, steps forward. You shift your weight, preparing to retreat quietly, not out of fear of them, but because you understand the rules of this world. When giants test each other, you give them space. The elder steps forward too, each movement heavy, grounded, deliberate. Their breaths become visible clouds, drifting in cold bursts from their nostrils. Muscles bunch beneath their coats, rippling in waves. Then, without warning, they clash. Their antlers collide with a thunderous crack that shakes loose leaves from the trees. Birds scatter in a flurry of wings. The forest echoes with the rhythmic pounding of hooves against earth. You instinctively step backward, deeper into the shade, watching from behind the large oak. The duel is not frantic, it is slow, heavy, a test of endurance, strength, and age-old instinct. The younger elk pushes, hooves digging into the soil as he leans his full weight into the elder. But the elder, massive, seasoned, powerful, holds his ground. Their antlers grind together, sending vibrations through the air like the groan of strained wood. Suddenly, the elk swerves, twisting his head with immense precision. The younger elk stumbles, nearly losing balance. A harsh grunt escapes him. He regains footing, but the message has been delivered. There is wisdom in age and strength in calm. The younger elk withdraws slowly, head lowered, chest heaving. His antlers dip in a gesture of reluctant submission. The elder watches him for a long, silent moment, breath steady, eyes softening. Then the elk turns away, majestic and unhurried, antlers swaying like living sails catching the morning breeze. The younger elk lingers for a moment, gaze following the elder's retreat. He snorts once, as if accepting his place in the order of things. Then he too disappears into the trees. Silence returns, carrying with it a sense of dignity, a lesson. You step out from your hiding place and let the quiet settle around you. Your heart is steady, your breath even. This is the 11th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Power is not always violent. Sometimes it is simply the ability to endure. The sunlight shifts as clouds drift overhead, dimming the forest into gentle shadow. You follow the slope of the land, moving toward a place where the air grows cooler again. Ahead, you hear the distant rush of water. A river, a crossing, a new chapter. Something ancient waits by the water's edge, moving, breathing, massive. But that is for the next section. For now, you walk softly, you breathe deeply, and the forest of antlers closes behind you like a beautiful dream fading into memory. The forest thins as you move downhill, the ground softening under your feet, the air thickening with moisture, and the distant sound of rushing water. You follow the noise instinctively. It grows louder with every step, shaping itself into a constant, soothing murmur that rolls across the land. When you finally emerge from the trees, a river stretches before you, wide, cold, bright as polished stone as it rushes over smooth rocks. Mist rises from where the current crashes into itself, drifting in pale ribbons that curl around your ankles like curious spirits. You crouch beside the water, cupping your hands to take a drink. The river is startlingly cold, so cold it sends a quick shiver up your arms. You drink anyway. The shock wakes your senses, sharpening everything. You look upstream. Boulders line the riverbank, enormous ones, rounded and ancient, their surfaces carved by seasons upon seasons of weathering. They rise like sleeping giants, their gray backs glistening where the mist settles. One boulder in particular draws your attention. At first, it looks like the others, massive, unmoving, blanketed in moss and lichen. But as you watch the mist swirl around its contours, you notice something different. A shape, not quite right. A curve, not quite stone. A shadow, not cast by the sun, but by something larger, breathing. You take a slow step toward it, then another. The air shifts around you, growing warm, thick, heavy. Then you hear it, a low, deep rumble, followed by a long exhale. The boulder moves. A head rises from behind it, huge, heavy, fur matted and dark. A muzzle emerges, broad and powerful. Shoulders follow, draped in thick muscle and winter coat. The creature shakes its head, sending a soft shower of dust and old leaves falling from its fur. A cave bear, sleeping, until now. This is the 12th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Sometimes danger looks like a stone until it breathes. You stop immediately, every muscle quiet, every movement frozen in the soft air. Your breath halts in your chest. The cave bear sniffs once. The sound is enormous, almost like a gust of wind being pulled backward. Its nostrils flare, its ears twitch, but its eyes remain closed, still half asleep, still drifting between dreams and wakefulness. Your heart beats a slow, controlled rhythm. Not panic, focus, presence. You step back, your bare feet barely brushing the grass. One step, another. The bear shifts again, rolling slightly onto its side. You see the rise and fall of its rib cage, each breath deep and rumbling. Even at rest, it radiates the raw, unfiltered power of a creature built for survival. Its paws alone are the size of your face. The claws, long, curved, glint faintly in the filtered sunlight. Tools of digging, tearing, holding. Tools honed by time and necessity. You swallow carefully. The sound feels too loud. You remain perfectly still until the river covers the echo of your breath. The cave bear's head lifts, slowly. Its eyes open, small, deep-set, shadowed by fur. They sweep across the riverbank, unfocused at first. You feel its gaze pass over you like a warm gust of air. Your muscles tighten, not in tension, but in deliberate control. The bear lifts its snout to the breeze. The river saves you.
The water carries its own scent, clean, powerful, masking yours in the cold mist. The bear huffs, shakes its head, then stretches, its massive body unfolding like a mountain rising. It stands. The full sight of it steals your breath entirely, not from terror, but awe. The bear towers over most creatures you've seen, taller than any modern bear you might compare it to, shoulders broad enough to block the sun if it stood before you. Its fur hangs in thick waves, dark near the shoulders, lighter near the underbelly, each strand reflecting the morning light in muted golds and browns. It snorts once, shaking dew from its fur, and steps toward the river. You stand behind a cluster of tall reeds, hidden by their gentle sway. Your breath is slow, your heart steady. The earth beneath you feels soft, grounding. The bear lowers its massive head to drink. Its tongue laps the water in slow, rhythmic motions, not frantic, not hurried. Its ears remain relaxed, signaling no threat sensed. You watch, silent. This is not a monster, not a nightmare, but a survivor, an architect of nature's balance. The cave bear finishes drinking and lifts its head, water dripping from its jaws. For a moment, sunlight catches the droplets, making them sparkle like scattered gems before they fall. The bear turns slightly. Its eyes drift lazily across the riverbank and stop on you. The world holds its breath. Even the river seems to pause. The bear's gaze lingers, curious, soft, assessing. It takes a slow, deep breath, tasting the air. You do not move, not even a tremble. Your body speaks in silence. I am small. I am passing through. I am not a threat. The bear grunts, a deep, low sound that vibrates across the ground. Then, it turns away. Just turns away. It lowers its head back to the river, uninterested, unbothered, returning to its morning ritual. It drinks once more, sniffs the air, then ambles toward the forest on the opposite side. You watch its massive form disappear into the shadows, each footstep leaving a deep print in the soft soil. When the last rustle of its fur fades, you finally let out a slow, careful exhale. Your muscles unwind. The world returns to motion. Birds begin singing again. This is the 13th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Sometimes, survival is not the result of strength, but of stillness. You step toward the river, kneel again, and let the cold water wash over your hands. It cools your palms, calms your breath, resets your heartbeat. The river continues its endless journey, carving paths through stone, carrying stories of creatures who come to drink, to rest, to pass through. You rise. You follow it downstream. The air grows thicker, warmer, different. The land begins to open once more. And somewhere ahead, beyond the next bend in the river, you sense something else waiting, something powerful, fast, something that does not lumber like a giant, but stalks like a shadow. But that comes later. For now, you walk softly along the river's edge, listening to the gentle music of water flowing over stone. A steady rhythm, a calming pulse, a promise that the world still holds quiet places between its dangers. You breathe deeply, you continue, and the earth hums its ancient song beneath your feet.
The river narrows as you walk, winding through a valley where the air grows colder with every step. The trees thin once again, replaced by stretches of open land brushed by a pale wind. You follow the river until it curves sharply east, and when you round that bend, the land opens like a curtain pulled aside. And there it is, a shimmering plain of ice. It stretches from the edge of your world to the horizon itself, a frozen corridor suspended between continents. The air above it glows with a faint bluish haze, tinted by sunlight that fractures through the ice in glittering splinters. Beneath your feet, the ground hardens. Frost forms along the edges of the rocks, creeping outward like delicate veins. You stop at the boundary where the earth becomes ice. A cold breath slides across your skin. Your lungs tighten reflexively, then expand again. Your steps slow. This is the 14th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Cold can be a barrier, but also a bridge. You crouch and touch the ice. Smooth, solid, thick enough to hold creatures much heavier than you. The wind carries a faint smell of salt, sea, trapped beneath layers of frozen time. It also carries something else, the faint musk of animals who have crossed long before you arrived. You rise, adjusting your walking stick, tightening the fur around your shoulders. You take the first step onto the ice bridge. The sound is soft, like glass humming under pressure. It doesn't crack, it doesn't shift. It simply sings beneath your weight in a gentle, crystalline whisper. Step after step, you make your way across. The landscape sharpens around you, vast, endless, white. The horizon vanishes into a pale blur. Your breath becomes visible, drifting before you in slow, steady clouds. Every sound feels amplified in the stillness, the crunch of snow, the faint hiss of wind. Even your heartbeat seems loud. But a new sound joins them, soft, far behind you, barely a whisper, a scrape on ice. You freeze, not out of fear, but awareness, that finely tuned sense that has carried you through the world of giants so far. You turn your head, slowly, carefully. At first, you see nothing but the long sweep of frost. Then, a shape appears, low, sleek, moving with a glide so smooth it barely disturbs the snow. A cat, but not like the ones you know. Not sleek and small, not swift and nervous. This one is built for an entirely different world. The scimitar cat. Its shoulders roll beneath a coat of dense golden fur, striped faintly with darker, shadowy patterns. Its head is heavy, wide at the jaw, narrowing to a muzzle dusted with frost. And the teeth? When it turns its head, you see the long, curved sabers peeking past its lips, shaped like the blades of ancient weapons. It walks with a quiet confidence, its paws spreading on the ice for maximum grip. The muscles beneath its fur ripple like coiled ropes ready to snap into movement. Yet, for all its power, its steps remain soft, deliberate, almost gentle. It has seen you. You know this, but it has not decided what you are yet. You swallow quietly, keeping your breath steady. The cold air sharpens your focus. You don't run. Running invites chase. Running announces fear. Instead, you do what you have learned in every moment of danger. You breathe. You remain small. You move with intention, not panic. The scimitar cat pauses, tilting its head, ears flicking in micro movements that catch every sound, every vibration. It sniffs the air, slow, measured, assessing. Something inside you tightens, instinct, memory, the ancestral voice humming a quiet warning within your bones. You step sideways, not backward, toward a cluster of fractured ice ridges that rise from the surface like jagged frozen waves. They are large enough to break visibility, to hide your silhouette in their shadows. The cat's eyes follow you, amber, unblinking, ancient. It takes another step forward, not a charge, not a stalk, a question. You slip quietly behind the ice ridge, letting its frosted surface chill your fingers. The wind presses against your face, bringing with it the scent of the sea and the faint echoes of distant shifting ice. You crouch low, listen. The cat's footsteps resume, slow and steady. They approach, then pause.
You hold your breath without meaning to, your body instinctively waiting. A soft scrape, a huff of warm breath that sends tiny crystals spiraling from the edge of your hiding place. It is close, very close. You feel the vibration of its weight through the ice. You remain still, not stone still, but calm still, the way rivers smooth into placidness before they plunge over cliffs. This is the 15th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Sometimes, danger tests your stillness, not your strength. The cat inhales deeply. Your scent is faint, muted by cold wind and the sharp bite of frost. It steps forward, past you. You hear its claws click lightly on the ice. You listen as the sound drifts ahead, growing fainter with each step. You wait. A full minute. 2. Then, slowly, you rise. You peek from behind the ridge. The scimitar cat is moving away from you, walking across the frozen plain toward a cluster of low, distant hills. Its saber teeth catch the light for a moment, glowing faintly like 2 slivers of dawn. It does not look back. You release the breath you didn't realize you'd been holding. It leaves your chest in a slow, misting cloud. Your heartbeat settles. Your muscles warm again. You continue your journey across the ice bridge, walking in the opposite direction from where the cat vanished. The ice beneath you hums gently with every step, as though the earth itself is whispering guidance. When you finally reach the far shore, the ground softens beneath you once more. The ice gives way to frost-hardened soil. Sparse vegetation clings to the landscape, low shrubs, patches of hardy grass. You step onto the new land, a new world, a new continent, a new chapter. You turn once, looking back at the endless expanse of frozen path behind you, a glittering ribbon connecting 2 ancient worlds. Wind sweeps across it, carrying with it the fading tracks of predators and prey alike. Then you face forward. The land ahead rises gently, dotted with shadows that move between the tall grasses. Shapes larger than wolves, heavier than any predator you've met so far. Something is out there. Something fast. Something powerful. Something that doesn't stalk like the scimitar cat, but rules with a different kind of dominance entirely. But that comes later. For now, you breathe. You walk. And the land of the new world opens its first breath to you.
The land breathes differently here. As you move away from the ice bridge, the ground softens beneath your feet. Earth replacing frost, grass replacing snow. The wind loses some of its sharpness, becoming warmer, dustier, carrying scents from a world both familiar and entirely new. Rolling hills stretch ahead, their slopes dotted with hardy shrubs and patches of tall, golden grass that sway gently in the breeze. The sun hangs low in the sky, still climbing but offering enough warmth to loosen your muscles after the cold crossing. You walk with quiet intention. Each step feels like entering a new chapter of the ancient earth, a land where the rules are the same, yet the players are different. This is the 16th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. A new land means new giants. The valley ahead spreads wide, carved smooth by ancient rivers long gone. You descend into it, letting the wind push softly at your back. The tall grasses brush your legs, whispering in soft, rhythmic patterns like distant voices telling forgotten stories. Somewhere above you, a bird circles, long wings glinting silver in the sunlight. It cries out once, a sharp call that echoes across the open land. You pause, listening. The valley is quiet, too quiet, not empty, just watched. Your heartbeat slows in response, steady, aware. You scan the hillsides, the river-carved ridges, the patches of grass that ripple like slow-moving water. Another sound reaches you, a deep thud, then another.
Not footsteps, more like the ground shifting under weight. You take a step forward, careful and silent. The air thickens around you, heavy with something primal. You know this feeling, a presence that fills a space before the creature does. You crest a small rise, pushing aside a curtain of tall grass. At first, you think you're looking at a boulder, a huge, dark, fur-covered boulder. Then it moves. The shape rises, slowly, deliberately, as though pulled upward by the earth itself. Shoulders broader than any bear you've ever imagined, legs like pillars of living stone, a head that seems too massive to be real. The creature stands fully and its shadow stretches across the valley floor. The short-faced bear. Not short-faced by size, only by the structure of its skull. Everything else about it is impossibly, terrifyingly large. It stands higher than a tall man, even on all fours. If it were to rise upright, it would tower over you like a living wall of fur and muscle. Its fur ripples in dark waves, thick at the shoulders, tapering down its back. Its breath emerges in warm gusts, like steam swirling from a hidden furnace. You inhale quietly. This is not just the largest bear of its time. This is one of the fastest. A pursuit predator. A creature built to intimidate with its body alone. Your heart remains calm. Not still, not frozen, but steady. Presence is your greatest tool. The bear sniffs the air. It turns its head slightly, scanning the valley. The wind carries your scent away from it, luck or fortune, or just the world letting you pass one more time. You stand behind a thin cluster of grass. It is not a hiding place. It is a momentary boundary between you and the giant before you. The bear steps forward. The ground trembles beneath its weight, a soft vibration moving through your feet, up your legs, settling into your bones. But it is not hunting, not now. It's searching, patrolling, claiming the valley with each thunderous step. The bear walks towards a fallen log, sniffing the bark, digging its claws into the wood with terrifying ease. Thick splinters crack and fly. The bear paws at the earth, turning stones as if they were leaves. This is the 17th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Not everything powerful is looking for you, but everything powerful can find you. You lower your body slightly, not crouching, just becoming smaller, blending into the grass and earth. Your breathing stays slow, matching the rhythm of the wind as it moves through the valley. The bear turns. Its eyes sweep across the landscape, wide, dark, sharp. You feel its gaze pass over you. Your heart hesitates, then steadies again. The bear huffs, a deep, low sound that vibrates the air. It steps forward, closer, closer. You remain still, not rigid, not frozen, just present. The bear stops a few paces away, lifting its head. It sniffs once, twice. It turns its massive skull towards the breeze, considering it. You are not the scent it seeks. It snorts and turns its attention elsewhere. A moment passes, another. Your muscles remain soft, ready to move but committed to stillness. The bear drops onto all fours and begins lumbering towards the riverbed at the base of the valley. Its stride is deceptively smooth for a creature so large. Powerful, graceful in its own heavy way. The earth seems to mold itself to each step. You wait until its massive form becomes only a dark silhouette against the glimmering water. You listen as its steps fade into the hush of the wind. You watch until the shadow disappears behind a bend in the valley wall. Only then do you move. A slow inhale, a slower exhale. Your shoulders loosen. You rise from your quiet place among the grass. Above you, the bird circles again, letting out a long, echoing cry. as if announcing that the valley is safe once more. You walk forward, stepping across the bear's footprints, deep impressions that fill with your shadow as you pass over them. Each print feels like a reminder of the world's scale, its age, its indifference, its beauty. This is the 18th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. You are small, but small things survive by understanding the rhythm of the world. The valley stretches onward, rolling gently towards a dense, shadowed forest. The air grows cooler again, carrying the scent of pine and distant snow. Something moves in those trees, graceful, silent, predatory. But that is for another section. For now, you walk through the golden grass. Your breath calms. The land steadies beneath your feet. And the world, vast and ancient, allows you to pass.
The valley tapers into forest. Tall pines rise ahead of you, their trunks straight as spears, their needles whispering softly in the wind. The air changes the moment you step beneath the first canopy. Cooler, dimmer, more ancient. The world becomes the cathedral of shadow and filtered light, where sound doesn't quite echo, it hovers. Your footsteps soften into moss. Your breath merges with the quiet. The forest greets you not with danger, but with watchfulness. This is the 19th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. The quiet places often belong to hunters. You move gently between the trees, careful not to disturb the fallen needles beneath your feet. Rays of sunlight cut through the branches in thin golden beams that illuminate particles of drifting pollen. The air smells of sap and cold earth. Somewhere far off, water drips in a steady rhythm, a natural heartbeat. You stop. Listen. The forest is not silent. It is whispering. A faint rustle, a soft crack of bark, a distant flutter of wings, all harmless. Then you hear something else. A pause, a break in the forest's breathing, a momentary stillness so complete that your own heartbeat seems too loud. You turn your head slowly. Nothing moves. But your instincts, sharpened by this ancient world, shaped by the giants you've survived, stir beneath your skin. You are not alone. You lower your center of gravity slightly, muscles relaxed but ready, breath controlled. You take a single step forward, placing your foot on a patch of moss that muffles all sound. A shadow moves in the distance. Not fast, not alarming, just present. You can't quite see its shape at first. The forest light masks it, the branches framing it like a shifting silhouette. Then it resolves, and your breath catches. A cat, but impossibly large, larger than any lion you've ever known in future tales. The American lion. It steps between the columns of pine trees like a ghost carved from sunlight and muscle. Its fur is pale gold, thick around the shoulders, tapering along its powerful limbs. Its body is long, sleek, built for running and grappling and overpowering prey far larger than you. It is a lion in shape, but not in attitude. There is something colder in its movements, more careful, more calculating. Its head rises slightly, ears flicking. Its eyes, amber like dying embers, scan the forest with slow deliberation, missing nothing. You do not move. You barely breathe. The lion pauses, tail flicking once, a low, silent wave through the underbrush. It smells something. Not you. The wind carries your scent away. Something else. Ahead of it, to your right, a deer-like creature freezes mid-step. It's large, larger than any modern deer, long-limbed, heavy-bodied, its fur dappled with fading white spots. A giant relative of the mule deer, thriving in this ancient America. The lion locks onto it, and everything changes. You witness a transformation, powerful but quiet, violent but graceful.
The lion lowers itself until its body becomes a ribbon of muscle pressed to the earth. Its eyes sharpen. Its paws slide forward in utter silence. You crouch instinctively, not out of fear, but reverence. You are watching a king at work. The deer sniffs the air, sensing something wrong but unable to locate it. Its ears twitch, legs taut, body trembling with a blend of instinct and confusion. The lion inches closer, a shadow gliding across shadows. Your breath slows to match your heartbeat. The forest holds its breath with you. Then, with a sudden precision that defies its size, the lion moves. Not fast, instant. It explodes into motion with such force that the ground trembles. The deer bolts, leaping forward, hooves scraping bark and moss. The lion closes the distance in 3 strides, long, devastating, beautiful in their deadly efficiency. The deer veers. The lion changes direction mid-run, kicking off a fallen log so large it snaps beneath him. A roar rips through the forest, deep, resonant, primal enough to shake loose a cascade of pine needles. The deer stumbles. The lion leaps. For a moment, they collide in a violent cloud of fur and dust. A thud, a grunt, a final, quiet struggle. Then, stillness. You exhale, not in relief, not in fear, but in profound respect. Nature is not cruel here. It is honest. The lion drags its prey towards the base of a fallen tree, settling into the shadows. It eats quietly, ripping flesh with powerful jaws, but doing so with a kind of solemn focus, the way experienced hunters do. You watch from a respectful distance. The lion lifts its head once, sensing movement. Its amber eyes sweep across the forest, and for a brief moment, fall on you. You do not flinch. Your body speaks the language you've learned here. I am small. I am not competition. I am passing through. The lion's gaze lingers, assesses, dismisses. It lowers its head and continues its meal. This is the 20th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Predators are not evil. They are ancient rhythm, and you are simply another note. You quietly step back, letting the forest swallow your presence. The light dims as you move deeper between the trees, letting distance soften the remnants of the hunt. A breeze lifts the scent of pine toward you. Your breath settles, your heartbeat relaxes. But the forest remains alive around you, shifting shapes, leaf whispers, distant calls. And beyond its edge lies another kind of land entirely. A land of heat, of grassland, of towers of bone rising from cracked earth. A land where a giant waits whose hunger reshaped entire ecosystems. But that is for another section. For now, you breathe, you listen, and you walk through the quiet kingdom of the lion, the forest giving way behind you like a curtain falling over a finished scene.
The forest thins gradually, as if reluctant to release you. The shade softens into scattered patches, the pine needles giving way to warm soil and tufts of pale grass. As you walk, the trees spread out until they stand alone, silent sentinels watching the world change shape. And then, the forest ends. You step into the sunlight. A vast, open plain stretches before you. Golden grasses ripple like an endless ocean, bending and shimmering beneath the warm breath of afternoon wind. The sky opens above you, huge, brilliant blue, so wide it feels almost unnatural after the shadowed world beneath the trees. Heat radiates gently from the ground. Insects hum in lazy loops through the air. Distant birds call across the plain, their cries drawn out like singing. You pause, and you breathe in the warmth, letting it sink into your muscles, loosening everything the cold valleys and dark forests had tightened. This is the 21st thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Every landscape has a heartbeat. This one beats slow and warm. You walk along a faint trail, worn not by humans, but by something larger. The grasses are pressed down in long, winding lines, wide enough that whatever made them dwarfs you in size. You follow them, curiosity guiding your steps through the bright, swaying field. The heat deepens. The insects hum. Your shadow stretches across the ground like a quiet companion. Then you hear it. A heavy, rhythmic sound. Soft but massive. Like a tree trunk being pulled gently through the grass. You crouch slightly, eyes sweeping the horizon. The grasses ahead shift, parting slowly, steadily, as though pushed aside by an invisible hand. Then a shape rises, slowly, broadly, impossibly. A great mound of fur, sun-warmed and dust-covered. Then a long, muscular arm, thick as a tree trunk, reaching upward to clutch the branch of a low, ancient tree you hadn't noticed among the taller grasses. The branch bends under the weight, and the giant stands fully, a giant ground sloth. Its fur is mottled brown and tan, dense and coarse, swaying in the warm breeze. Its head is broad, gentle, framed by deep-set eyes that glimmer with slow intelligence. Its claws, long, curved, gleaming faintly, hang like enormous hooks from its powerful forelimbs. Tools for reaching, pulling, defending, and shaping the land simply by existing. You remain still, not because of fear, but because something in your chest softens the moment you see it. There is no malice in its movements, no tension, no hunger sharpened for a hunt. Just calm, steady, ancient patience. The giant leans back on its hind legs, balancing with a surprising grace. It uses its forelimbs to pull down another branch, stripping the leaves with slow, deliberate bites. Each movement radiates a quiet strength, a rhythm that matches the warm pulse of the world around you. The ground shakes softly as it shifts its weight, but the tremor feels soothing, like the earth stretching. You step closer, slow, deliberate, respectful. Grass brushes your ankles, warm against your skin. The sloth doesn't react at first. Its world moves slowly, and it has learned that quick panic wastes what matters most: energy and time. It finishes chewing a mouthful of leaves before turning its head, gradual, intentional, to look at you. Its eyes meet yours. Dark, reflective, calm. There is no judgment there, only recognition. Another creature sharing the sun, another traveler crossing the ancient plain. You exhale softly. The sloth blinks once, slowly, then returns to feeding. You stand in its presence, letting the world settle around you. The warm wind wraps gently around your shoulders. The grass swayed, the insects hum. The sun warms the back of your neck. Peace. It is rare in the age of giants, and precious. This is the 22nd thing you learn in the age of giants. Not all giants are storms. Some are sanctuaries. The sloth shifts its weight again, lowering itself back onto all fours. The movement is slow but immense, muscles rolling beneath its fur like distant hills shifting in the sun. It moves forward, brushing aside small shrubs as though they were nothing. As it walks, small birds flit around it, landing briefly on its back, picking insects from its fur before darting away. They chirp softly, unafraid, used to the slow-moving mountain that does not harm them. You follow the sloth at a distance, matching your pace to its calm rhythm. Its footsteps are so deep they leave impressions that fill with shadow immediately. The smell of crushed grass rises behind it, fresh, earthy, warm. For a moment, you imagine what the world must look like to a creature like this. Everything moving faster than it does. Everything is bright and fleeting. Everything temporary except its own steady presence. You understand it somehow,
Somehow, you came from a night full of predators, from cold winds and roaring valleys. And here is something that does not run, does not stalk, does not hunt. A reminder that not all survival requires teeth and speed. Sometimes, survival is simply moving at your own pace. The sloth stops suddenly. You freeze. Not tense, just attentive. It sniffs the air, lifting its long snout slightly. Its ears twitch. Its muscles shift subtly beneath its thick fur. You look around. The plain is quiet. The wind softens. The birds fall silent. A warning. A shadow moves in the far grass. Large, low, fast. Your heartbeat responds before your mind does. A predator. But not for you. For the giant. You step backward instinctively, placing yourself behind a rise in the terrain, not hiding, but giving the moment space to unfold. The sloth turns its body, positioning its massive shoulders towards the shifting grass. Its claws extend slightly, gleaming. It doesn't panic. It doesn't flinch. Giant sloths are gentle, but not defenseless. The grass parts, and a shape appears. Large, striped faintly, powerful shoulders, eyes sharp as blades. The American lion. Another one. You know the silhouette immediately. But the lion stops. It looks at the sloth, at the claws, at the sheer wall of muscle and size. A single misjudged leap could crush it. A single swipe from those claws could break bones. The lion considers, calculates. Then it turns away. The sloth huffs softly, almost like an exhale of mild annoyance. Then it returns to its slow journey, unbothered. You let out the breath you didn't realize was trapped in your chest. This is the 23rd thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Gentleness can be its own kind of power. You watch the giant sloth disappear into the tall grass, slowly, steadily, moving like a drifting hill swallowed by the bright horizon. When it is gone, the plain feels emptier. You continue your walk, the grasses parting around your legs as the heat deepens across the land. Somewhere ahead, the world darkens again, not with trees, but with stone, with caverns, with something ancient watching from within. But that waits for another section. For now, you breathe, you step, and the plain sighs beneath the sun, carrying you forward with its warm, gentle rhythm.
The warm plain softens behind you as the earth begins to change again. The grasses shorten. The air cools. The soil darkens beneath your feet, growing harder, flatter, as if something heavy once walked across it again and again until the land learned the shape of its footsteps. Ahead, scattered rock formations rise from the ground, gray, jagged, worn smooth by centuries of lend. They jut upward like old bones from an ancient creature, pointing at the sky with silent warning. A hush settles over the world, not the peaceful quiet of the plains, not the watchful stillness of the forest. Something heavier, denser, as though the land itself holds its breath when you step onto it. This is the 24th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Some places belong to predators even when the predators are not present. You walk carefully. The rocks create natural corridors and shadowed alcoves, perfect hiding places for creatures that prefer ambush to pursuit. The air sinks into a cold pocket between the stone pillars, brushing your skin with a sudden shiver. You pause. Listen. At first, nothing answers. Then, a low, distant rumble. Not thunder, not wind, something alive. You move between the stones, each step deliberate, silent, respectful. A gust of wind slides through the corridor, carrying with it a scent you have come to recognize. Musk, dust, old bone, and something sharp beneath it. Carnivore,
a top one. The shadows deepen as you enter a wider canyon-like space formed naturally by the rocks. Sunlight grazes its edges but leaves the center dim, cool, unsettlingly still. Then you see it. Not the creature, its work. A massive skull lies half buried in the dust. Not human, not deer. Something larger, something that once stood tall and thick and powerful. Deep gouges score the bone, long, parallel, unmistakable. Teeth marks. 2 enormous canines punctured the top. Your breath slows. You are in the hunting ground of something extraordinary. A predator that carved fear into bone. A predator that shaped legend before humans ever told stories. You step around the skull slowly, your shadow sliding across its hollow eyes. The air thickens suddenly as if something huge has entered the space. And when you turn, it is already there. Not approaching, not stalking, simply existing in the open as if it has no need to hide. A Smilodon, saber-toothed cat. It stands partially in shadow, partially in a shaft of golden light. Its shoulders curve upward into powerful ridges, thick with muscle that moves like a rolling tide beneath its fur. Its forelimbs are massive, far thicker than those of modern big cats, built for grappling prey in close combat. And then, there are the teeth. 2 enormous canines, long as daggers, gleam faintly in the low light. They curve gently downward, like curved blades forged not by human hands, but by deep time and evolution. You inhale quietly. The Smilodon's head turns towards you, smooth, silent. Its eyes are yellow, steady, ancient. They look through you as easily as they measure the shadows around you. It does not snarl. It does not roar. It does not tense. It simply watches. And that stillness is more terrifying than aggression. You remain motionless, the way you have learned to in the presence of giants. Your heart beats softly, your breath slow and steady. You are small. You are calm. You are not a challenge. The Smilodon tilts its head slightly, analyzing you with a patience only a perfect killer can afford. You notice something else. It is not alone. Another shape shifts behind it, quiet, shadowed, smaller, but still powerful. A second Smilodon, its fur darker, its body leaner, steps into view. It sniffs the air and flicks its tail, its attention drifting between you and the open plain behind you. A pair, partners, a coordinated hunting unit. You do not move, but your mind catalogs every detail. 2 predators, both full-grown, both watching the land, waiting for something. Not you, something larger, something worth the energy. The bigger Smilodon takes a slow step forward. Its paws are enormous, cushioned for silent movement. Its fur ripples in the breeze. Its breath escapes in a heavy, measured sound. You feel its presence more than you see its size. Then, a sound behind you. A shuffle. A crack. A breath too loud to belong to anything small. You resist the urge to turn quickly. Slowly, gently, you glance back. A giant bison stands at the edge of the rocks. Massive, thick-horned. Its hump rises higher than your head. Its breath fogs in the cooling air as it steps into the canyon, unaware of the predators watching it. The Smilodon's body changes instantly. Its muscles tighten, silently. Its tail stiffens. Its paws shift, gripping the earth. Every fiber of its being becomes a tensioned bowstring. The second Smilodon moves to the side, circling subtly, taking up a flanking position. Their coordination is precise, practiced, almost ritualistic. You remain absolutely still. The bison lowers its head, sniffing the dusty ground, unaware that death circles behind it on soft paws. The first Smilodon inches forward. You watch its claws extend slightly, gripping stone. Its shoulders rise. Its head lowers. Then, stillness. A final breath. A moment of perfect silence before the world breaks open. The Smilodon launches forward. It hits the ground with such force the stones vibrate beneath your feet. The second cat darts from the opposite side. The bison rears, too large and too slow to react in time. Then, dust. Roaring, a crash of bodies, a low, guttural snarl like the grinding of ancient earth. You do not see the details, not clearly. The dust clouds rise, the shadows blur, the sounds merge into a single violent symphony. But one thing is unmistakable. The saber-tooth is not graceful like the lion. It is not elegant like the cheetah of later ages. It is a wrestler, a grappler, a titan that overwhelms with sheer brutal strength. The bison falls. The dust settles. The valley becomes quiet again. The Smilodon scanned over their kill, breathing heavily, ears twitching, tail steady. They claim what they have earned. And then, as if acknowledging your respectful stillness, the larger one turns its head towards you one last time. Not a threat, not a warning, a recognition. A simple, ancient message. Survival respects survival. This is the 25th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. The world belongs to the patient, the strong, and the silent. You take a slow step back. Another. The rocks swallow your silhouette as you leave the hunters to their meal. Behind you, the land darkens toward dusk. Ahead of you, the world shifts again, towards colder wind, higher ground, and creatures shaped by ice and hunger. But that is for another section. For now, you walk quietly from the canyon of saber-tooths, carrying its ancient silence with you.
Dusk gathers as you leave the canyon. The last light of day stretches long across the land, turning the rocks soft blue and the sky a fading wash of gold. Shadows lengthen like slow-moving water, drifting across the ground as though the world itself exhales after the violence you witnessed. You step into cooler air. The temperature drops gently at first, then quickly, like a curtain of night sliding over the plain. The sun sinks lower, painting the horizon in hues of violet and deep orange. The grasses darken, the rocks gray. The breeze sharpens just enough to raise small goosebumps along your arms. And somewhere in that rising cold, a sound. Soft, distant, melodic, a howl. Not aggressive, not panicking. A long, rising call that echoes across the darkening world like a note of ancient music. You pause. Your heartbeat slows into the rhythm of it. This is the 26th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Not all predators hunt in silence. Some announce themselves at night. You walk toward the sound, guided by the cooling wind. As you approach a small rise in the terrain, the sky above deepens from violet to navy, stars beginning to flicker into existence like tiny flames rekindling after a long day. A full moon rises slowly behind the hills, round, pale, impossibly bright. Its light pours over the land, turning grass into silver threads and rocks into soft, glowing shapes. You crest the rise, and the world opens beneath you. A wide, bowl-shaped valley lies below, illuminated by moonlight. Shadows stretch long across it, but the night is not empty. Movement stirs at its center, large shapes, multiple, pacing with purpose and ease. Wolves. But not wolves like the ones you know from future tales. These are bigger, heavier, built not for stealth, but for endurance and teamwork. Dire wolves. One steps into full moonlight, and the details sharpen. Thick fur,
dark gray with streaks of black and lighter silver, broad shoulders, a deep chest built for powerful lungs, a head slightly larger than a modern wolf's with a jaw made for crushing bone. But its eyes glow softly amber in the moonlight, steady and aware. You remain perfectly still, not out of fear, but out of reverence. A single wolf would be impressive, but this is a whole pack. They move like a woven tapestry, each wolf aware of the others, synced in breath and purpose. One circles counterclockwise, another moves behind a boulder, a third stands still, nose lifted, scenting something on the wind. One wolf, larger than the rest, lifts its head. Its howl rises, long and resonant, filling the valley with a sound older than stories, older than human memory. It vibrates through your chest, through the ground, through the air itself. And from somewhere in the valley, another howl answers. Then another, then another. A layered chorus, a song of night and territory, a declaration of presence. You inhale slowly. The pack isn't hunting yet. This is the gathering, the communication, the prelude. You watch them with quiet admiration. Dire wolves are not the tyrants of the land. They do not overpower giants alone, nor do they stalk silently like cats. Their strength is their unity. Their survival is a collective heartbeat. The leader, big, scarred, confident, steps onto a small rocky outcrop and surveys the valley. Its tail is raised slightly, its ears alert. It looks like a statue carved from moonlight and shadow. Then, suddenly, a shift. The leader's head snaps toward the far side of the valley. Its ears twitch. Its body stiffens. The rest of the pack follows instantly, each wolf freezing mid-step. You narrow your eyes, trying to see what they sense. At first, nothing. Then, a shape. A lone, bulky silhouette moves at the edge of the grass line. Massive shoulders, heavy steps, a thick mane of hair hanging from its neck. A young bison, separated from its herd. You exhale softly, not in fear, in understanding. The wolves do not rush. They do not snarl or sprint. They plan. The pack spreads out. 2 wolves circling wide to the left, 3 slipping into the grass on the right, others staying behind the leader, waiting. You've seen hunters built for ambush. You've seen hunters built for brute strength. But this is strategy woven into muscle and instinct. The bison lowers its head to graze. It is unaware. The wolves creep closer. You barely see them move. The grass simply ripples around them. The night deepens. The moon brightens. Then, one wolf breaks from the line, rushing the bison from the front with a sharp bark. A distraction. The bison startles, spins, lowers its horns. By the time it does, 2 wolves are already behind it, nipping at its flanks, driving it forward. The pack leader charges, head low, teeth bared, not for killing, but for forcing the bison into a specific direction. A narrow gap between rocks, a trap. The bison crashes towards it, panicked and powerful. But the wolves are faster. Not stronger, not bigger, just faster. Together, they nip, dodge, flank, retreat, surge, a fluid dance that funnels the bison exactly where they want it. And then, the bison slips on a patch of loose stone. Just once, just enough. The pack swarms, a blur of fur and motion. Not cruel, not chaotic, precise. The kill is quick, efficient, a shared success. The wolves pull back almost immediately once the danger is over. They pant in the moonlight, not fighting over the body, not snarling, just breathing, regulating, waiting. The leader approaches the fallen bison first, as tradition demands, but only for a moment. Then it steps aside. The pack eats together. You watch from the rise, not intruding, just witnessing. The scene is not violent now. It is peaceful, even communal. This is the 27th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Survival is not always about strength. Sometimes it is about belonging. You feel the weight of that sentence settle into your bones. You turn slowly, leaving the pack to their hard-earned victory. The moon casts your shadow long across the ground as you walk. The night air cold but comforting around you. Behind you, the wolves howl again. A softer, shorter sound this time. Not a warning, not a threat. A note of acknowledgement. A traveler recognizes another traveler. Ahead of you, the land transitions once more, into hills of stone, into deeper cold, into a world shaped by ice and wind and giants built for both. But that comes next. For now, you walk into the moonlit night, your breath quiet, your steps steady, the Age of Giants still unfolding around you.
Night loosens its grip as you travel. The moon sinks behind distant hills, and the sky shifts from deep blue to the bruised lavender of early dawn. The stars fade slowly, like tired sentinels lowering their torches. Frost gathers on your breath, on your hair, on the edges of your clothing. You feel the cold long before you see its source. The ground hardens under your feet. The wind sharpens into a thin, icy blade. The grasses shrink away, leaving patches of frosted earth and stone. The air smells different here, dry, ancient, filled with the faint metallic bite of snow that has waited centuries to melt. Your steps slow. Your breathing deepens. Your eyes lift to the horizon. And then you see it. A white world rising from the earth. Not yet a full winter, but something close. A land that remembers how to be ice. Tundra. Open. Raw. Endless. The sun breaks the horizon as a thin gold line, illuminating the distant ground in pale light. Shadows stretch long across the frost, making the land look like it's stitched with silver threads. This is the 28th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Cold does not chase life away, it shapes it. You walk forward, your footsteps crunching softly on the frozen soil. Your breath forms clouds that drift behind you. The world feels quiet in a way that is not empty, but expectant. Something is out there, many things. You hear them before you see them. Soft thuds, deep vibrations, a slow rolling tremor that rises through the ground and settles in your bones. You stop. The vibrations deepen, multiply, strengthen. Not predators, not pursuit. A herd, a massive one. The tundra gently slopes downward into a wide frost-covered basin. You approach the edge of it carefully, placing your hand on a cold boulder for balance as you lean forward to look. And there they are. A horizon of fur and motion, dark shapes against a pale ground, breath rising from dozens, maybe hundreds of bodies like steam from a living volcano. At first, they look like hills that move. Then the details sharpen in the new morning light. Long curving tusks, ivory arcs catching the sun. Dense coats of shaggy hair swaying with every step. Broad heads, thick shoulders, eyes dark and calm. Woolly mammoths. A whole herd stretching farther than you can count. Your breath leaves you in a slow exhale of awe. Each mammoth is enormous, bigger than any creature you've seen so far in your journey, bigger than any creature alive in your future world. Their fur glows dark brown and amber beneath the soft dawn light. Frost clinks to their backs like delicate lace. They move with a rhythm that feels ancient and practiced, slow, heavy, purposeful. The world seems to steady itself beneath them.
You watch them descend into the basin, their feet sinking slightly into the frost. Their tusks swing gently as they walk. Their trunks drift and curl, brushing the ground, nudging calves, feeling the air. One mammoth trumpets, a deep, resonant call that rolls across the tundra like thunder softened by distance. Others answer with low rumbles you feel in your ribcage more than you hear. A calf stumbles over a patch of rough ice, squeaking a small distress call. Instantly, 3 adults close ranks around it, wrapping it in a protective circle of massive bodies, warm breath, and gentle nudges from their trunks. Family, safety, instinct older than time. You watch with a tightening in your chest, not fear, not sadness, but something else, reverence. This is the 29th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. The greatest strength in nature can be quiet, patient, and fiercely tender. The mammoths spread across the basin, tearing up grass and low shrubs with effortless sweeps of their trunks. Their tusks curve with impossible grace, long crescents that gleam like twin moons. The sound of them feeding fills the air. Crunching roots, soft trumpets, low rumbles, the steady breath of creatures so large they bend the land around them. But mammoths are not alone on this tundra. You notice movement at the far edge of the herd, a smaller group of shaggy animals, their humps rising and falling beneath thick coats. Their horns sweep forward in elegant arcs. Steppe bison. Dozens of them, some grazing, some watching. They move in and out of the mammoth's orbit like satellites around planets, comfortable, unthreatened. The mammoths do not mind. Their presence offers protection from predators. No dire wolf pack, no smilodon pride, no ancient lion would challenge a mammoth herd for prey. This place is safer than most. Safer, but not without tension. A sudden gust of wind sweeps across the basin, carrying with it a scent that makes the bison lift their heads. Predators. Not close, not attacking, just observing. You scan the ridge until you see them. A line of silhouettes, still as statues. Dire wolves. Maybe the same pack you saw earlier, maybe a different one. They watch from a distance, patient, calculating, understanding the rules of this place. They will not approach. The mammoths are guardians of the tundra. They do not fight unless forced, but when they do, they are earthquakes with tusks. You remember stories you have yet to hear, of mammoths forming defensive circles, tusks outward, trunks raised, feet stomping the frozen earth until predators retreat. This herd, though calm, carries that power in its bones. The wolves know it. You take a step closer down the slope, careful not to startle anything. The nearest mammoth notices the movement and turns its head slightly, one eye fixing on you. It blinks slowly. A soft puff of steam rises from its trunk. It studies you. Not with fear, not with aggression, with curiosity. You lower your body slightly, not out of submission, but respect. The mammoth rumbles softly, a sound like distant thunder, then returns to feeding. Permission to remain. Permission to watch. You breathe easier. A calf wanders near you, its small trunk wobbling clumsily as it tries to uproot a frozen plant. Its mother follows behind it, her tusks enormous, her fur thick with frost. She brushes the calf gently with her trunk, guiding it away from a patch of unstable ice. The tenderness hits you. Survival here is not solitary, not aggressive, not cruel. It is communal, shared, ancient. This is the 30th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Some worlds survive because they move together. You sit on a cold rock, letting the scene unfold. The mammoths move slowly across the basin, their shapes forming waves of fur and tusks. The sun rises fully now, bathing them in warm light that turns their coats to bronze fire. The wolves disappear, the bison settle, the wind quiets. For the first time in a long journey, the world feels gentle. You close your eyes for a brief moment, breathing in the cold air, letting the mammoth's steady rhythms lull your mind. When you open your eyes again, the herd has shifted, revealing a distant rise in the tundra, a place where the wind blows harsher, the ground turns white, and the shadows hint at something bigger, something solitary, something carved entirely from ice and hunger. But that belongs to another section. For now, you breathe, you listen, and you walk through a land of gentle giants. Your footsteps soft in the frost, your heartbeat steady in the dawn.
The tundra rises. Slowly at first, gentle slopes, small drifts of snow, patches of frost that sparkle faintly in the morning sun. Then the land angles upward sharply, becoming harsher, colder, more unforgiving. The wind changes voice, no longer drifting softly across the ground, but whistling through cracks in old stone. You climb. Your breath fogs the air with every exhale, forming pale ghosts that fade behind you. Your feet crunch across the frozen crust, each step measured, steady, deliberate. The warmth of the Mammoth Basin lingers only in memory now. This new world greets you with open cold. But the cold is not empty. The land carries stories, deep ones. Shallow depressions in the snow, long fur-lined trails left behind by something heavy, scrapes on stone, claw marks, signs of presence. Something powerful lives here. Something that rules the high places, not through numbers like the wolves, not through size like the mammoths, but through endurance, through ancient, stubborn strength. You crest a ridge, and the world opens into a valley of stone and shadow. A frozen stream cuts across it like a silver scar. Frost clings to the rocks in thick patches. The air feels older here, heavy, like a place where winter forgot to end. Then you hear it. A low, steady breathing. Not menacing, not panicked, just present. You take a few steps forward and look carefully across the valley. And there, against a backdrop of stone, a massive shape rises. Slowly, deliberately, as though waking from a deep, ancient dream. A cave bear. You freeze, not out of fear, but awe. It is enormous, heavier than any modern bear. Its fur is thick and dark, clumped with frost. Its shoulders rise like a mountain ridge. Its head is colossal, broad muzzle, deep-set eyes, jaw powerful enough to crack bone. Even from here, you feel the weight of its presence. This creature does not sneak, does not stalk, does not hide. It is the tundra, a living embodiment of cold and endurance. You remain still, your breath soft, your movements slow. The bear sniffs the air, testing each scent with a patience that seems almost ceremonial. It huffs, releasing a cloud of steam that drifts lazily into the wind. Its eyes open fully. They land on you. Dark, ancient, thoughtful. Not hungry, just aware. The bear shifts its enormous weight, turning its body slightly to face you. There is no aggression in the movement, just acknowledgement. You are a traveler here, a small one, a harmless one. The cave bear's nostrils flare as it breathes deeply again, and then, without hurry, it lowers itself onto all fours, settles its weight, and begins lumbering across the valley. Each step is a soft thunder, a slow drumbeat against the frozen ground, a reminder of how small you are. You follow at a careful distance, your footsteps muted against the snow. The bear heads towards a rocky outcrop where the wind breaks, where patches of old grass grow sheltered beneath the stone. It isn't hunting, it's feeding. Cave bears were omnivores, gentle giants when food allowed it, and powerful defenders when it didn't.
It uses its long claws to dig at the frozen soil, rolling over stones the size of your torso as if they were mere pebbles. You watch its strength with quiet reverence. This is the 31st thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Strength is not always violent. Sometimes it moves like patience. The bear grunts softly as it unearths a patch of dried roots. It settles down to eat, tearing with its massive jaws, chewing slowly, rhythmically. The sound, deep, steady crunching, echoes in the frozen valley with surprising comfort. A few birds hop around the edges of the bear's feeding area, little scavengers hoping for leftovers. The bear ignores them completely. It is not a tyrant here, just a guardian. You inch closer, careful to avoid sudden movement. The wind shifts, carrying some of the bear's scent towards you, earthy, musky, tinged with cold stone and old fur. Something stirs behind the bear. Snow shifts. A small figure emerges from a crevice in the rock. A cub. Thick fur, wide eyes, clumsy steps. It tumbles forward, landing face first in the snow with a muffled whump. You smile instinctively, though the cub cannot see you. The mother can. Without even turning her head, the cave bear releases a low, chest-deep rumble. The cub freezes instantly, obedient, attentive. Then it ambles toward her with that same clumsy persistence, nestling against her side. She leans slightly toward it, a massive wall of fur and muscle lowering in a gesture of pure tenderness. The contrast hits you hard. A creature powerful enough to scatter wolves with a single swipe, gentle enough to shelter a cub under her arm. You feel warmth in your chest despite the cold. The mother bear continues feeding, occasionally nudging the cub closer to her warmth. The cub mimics her movements, digging clumsily at the snow, grabbing roots it can barely hold. You watch them together, feeling the valley soften around you. Predators may rule through fear, herds may rule through numbers, but cave bears, they rule through presence, through a quiet, unshakable confidence. The wind rises suddenly, carrying with it the distant howls of a wolf pack. The mother bear pauses, her ears twitch, her muscles tighten, subtle but unmistakable. She stands, not in panic, not in anger, but readiness. The cub huddles close to her, pressing against her leg. She places one massive paw protectively in front of it, blocking the wind, blocking the sound, blocking the world. Then, after a long moment, she relaxes. The wolves were too far away. They know better. A cave bear defending her cub is not prey. She is a battleground. The cub resumes playing, the mother resumes feeding, and the valley exhale again. This is the 32nd thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Every giant is feared, but the ones you should respect most are the ones who protect something. You slowly step backward, giving the bears more space. The mother bear watches you go, her eyes soft but firm, acknowledging your neutrality once more. The wind howls across the ridge as you climb back toward higher ground. The cold bites, but the warmth of the valley lingers in your memory. Ahead of you, the land rises into sharper peaks, places where only the hardiest creatures survive, where hunger is constant, where shadows grow long even in daylight. Something waits there, something carved completely from ice and need. But that is for the next section. For now, you breathe the cold air deeply, you walk with deliberate steps, and you leave the guardian of the frozen valley behind, a memory of quiet strength that follows you into the rising wind.
The climb becomes harsher. The gentle slopes fade behind you, replaced by ridges of broken stone dusted with snow. The air is thinner here, sharp, metallic, cold enough to sting the inside of your nose when you breathe in too quickly. The sun is pale now, a white disk floating behind thin clouds, offering light but almost no warmth. Your shadow stretches long across the ice-crusted ground. With every step, the world feels less like a place where creatures live and more like a place where creatures endure. You stop to catch your breath, scanning the horizon. Wind moves over the ridgeline, dragging swirls of snow in ghostly spirals. The land is quiet, but not empty. Tracks cut across the drifts, some large, some small, some so sharp and fresh that snow still crumbles at their edges. The cold here doesn't erase life, it reveals it. This is the 33rd thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Where prey survives, something always follows. You continue upward, your boots crunching, breath steady. The ridge narrows, forcing you to walk closer to the cliff edge, where the wind cuts harder, louder, and colder. Then, a sound. A faint, clipped yip. Not a bark, not a howl, something in between. You freeze. Another call answers it, then another, shorter, sharper, almost like laughter. Hyenas. But not the spotted scavengers of Africa, not the modern hunters you will one day know from documentaries. These are older, bigger, stronger, built for cold and bone and long-distance pursuit. Short-faced hyenas. Their voices carry across the ridges like chattering wind. You move slowly toward the sound, keeping low, letting the stone shield you from sight as you peer over the next icy rise. What you see freezes your breath. A pack, not small, not struggling, but flourishing. 6 of them, maybe more. Their bodies are massive, thicker than modern hyenas, with long legs built for running. Their fur is dense, mottled shades of gray and brown. Their faces are blunt and powerful, jaws so wide and deep that you can almost imagine the crushing force hidden inside them. They stand in a loose semicircle around a frozen carcass, a young muskox pulled down earlier, its dark fur stiff with frost. The hyenas take turns feeding. There is no chaos, no fighting. They move with structure, organization, confidence. You crouch behind a rock, as still as snow. Their laughter-like calls echo again, short, staccato bursts that bounce across the ice. It isn't amusement, it's communication, coordination, a language older than humans. One hyena lifts its head. Its eyes are sharp, yellow, reflective, predatory. Its nose twitches, pulling in the cold air, tasting it. It knows something is near, something warm, something alive. But the wind favors you. It cannot tell what you are. You remain still, your breath slow, your fingers pressed softly against the frozen stone. The pack leader steps forward, a massive individual with a scar across its flank. It nudges another hyena aside gently but assertively, claiming its turn at the carcass. Its jaws open wide, revealing teeth built to break femurs like dry twigs. You watch it chew, each crush echoing through the valley in a slow, visceral rhythm. The others wait with surprising patience. This is no chaotic pack. This is a family, a machine of survival. You remain hidden, listening to the deep crunch of bone and the soft clicking of teeth. Time stretches. The wind howls. The hyenas eat. But then, their posture changes. Heads rise, ears tilt forward, tails stiffen. Something is approaching. Not you. Something bigger than you. Heavier. A presence that presses against the cold air like a warning. The pack spreads out instinctively, forming a rough arc around the carcass, shoulders lowered, jaws ready.
You scan the ridgeline until you see it. A silhouette moving across the snowy slope. Long arms, a heavy torso, a familiar walk. A human. Not like you, not modern, not soft, not carrying anything but instinct and hunger. A Paleolithic hunter, wrapped in fur, carrying a long spear tipped with stone. His breath clouds the air in thick bursts as he moves with careful precision. He isn't approaching the hyenas directly, he's following something. A trail. Maybe the carcass. Maybe the hyena's earlier movements. Maybe both. He crouches low, pressing his hand to the snow, reading the story hidden in the prints. You watch him the way you watch the animals, calmly, quietly, with a kind of distant recognition. He belongs here as much as they do. But the hyenas notice him. Heads lift, teeth bare, bodies tighten. A few of them step forward, forming a wall of fur and strength between the human and the carcass. He sees them, he stops, and he understands immediately. This kill does not belong to him. Not today. He stands slowly, one hand gripping his spear, the other open, showing he isn't approaching. He backs away step by careful step. The hyenas follow his movement, not aggressively, just assertively. Their message is clear: leave. He does. When he is far enough, he turns and continues down the ridge, disappearing behind a curtain of blowing snow. Your heartbeat settles. This is the 34th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Strength isn't just about fighting, it's about knowing when not to. The pack returns to feeding, the moment of tension dissolving as quickly as the wind shifts. One hyena chuffs softly, a low vocalization. Not quite a laugh, not quite a growl. Another responds with a short chirp. You watch them for a while longer. There is no cruelty in them, just survival. Just the ancient logic of hunger and cooperation. When they finish, they leave nothing behind. Not meat, not fat, not marrow. Only a scattering of hair and the faint indentation where the carcass once lay. The leader lifts its head one last time, scanning the ridges. Its eyes pass over your hiding place. You remain utterly still. It holds your gaze for a heartbeat. Then it turns away, leading the pack across the icy slope and into the rising wind. Their laughter-like calls echo behind them, fading into the snow, becoming part of the cold, part of the land itself. You exhale slowly. The ridge grows quiet again. Only your heartbeat remains, steady, warm, small in the vastness of the ice. Ahead of you, the land rises into harsher cold still, a place where the giants are solitary, pale, and carved by starvation itself. But that comes next. For now, you stand on the frozen ridge, the wind brushing ice across your skin, and you carry the memory of the laughing hunters as you walk deeper into the world of winter. You climb higher, not fast, not recklessly, just steady. Your breath rising in soft clouds, your boots crunching through snow that grows deeper with every step. The world behind you shrinks into memory. The mammoths' warm breaths, the dire wolves' moonlit hunts, the cave bears' heavy patience, the laughing hyenas on the ice. Here on the upper slopes, those sounds fade. This place belongs to something else. The air thins, the sky palens, the mountains sharpen into jagged silhouettes as if someone scraped knives along the horizon. Wind screams between the rocks, not the playful wind of the plains, not the whispering wind of the forests, but a razor-edged blast that carries nothing but cold and old hunger. You pull your fur-lined hood tighter. The land is nearly silent. No birds, no insects, no herds. Nothing moves. Nothing dares to. This is the 35th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. The top of the world belongs to the hungriest. You crest another ridge. A vast snowfield stretches ahead, empty, untouched, shimmering faintly in the pale morning light. The sky above it is a washed-out white, making it feel like you're walking inside the breath of winter itself. You take one step forward, and the world responds. A sound rolls through the snow. Not loud, not sharp, but deep. A low, distant boom, like a tree falling somewhere beneath the ice, like a heartbeat echoing through frozen stone. You stop. Listen. Another boom. Closer now. Followed by a dragging sound, heavy and deliberate. Your heartbeat slows. Your breath softens. You know this rhythm. You've learned it through the story of giants. Something enormous is moving. Not a mammoth. The steps aren't in herds. Not a cave bear. The gait is too long, too steady. Not a lion, or a wolf, or a hyena. This is heavier, older, more solitary. A shadow appears on the far side of the snowfield. Huge, features blurred by distance. Then it steps forward into the pale light, and you understand the scale. A short-faced bear, but not like the one you saw in the warm valley long ago. This one is larger, older, scarred. Ice clings to its fur. Frost coats its whiskers. Its breath pours from its mouth in huge plumes that drift like fog. It is a titan. A giant built not for forests or plains, not for ambush or teamwork, but for raw, relentless endurance. When it rises onto its hind legs, stretching its body in a long, towering arc, you feel small in a way you never have before. Its head brushes the wind. Its arms hang with claws long enough to carve symbols into mountainsides. Its chest rises with slow, controlled breaths. A living avalanche. You do not move. Not out of fear, out of reverence. The bear lowers onto all fours again and begins crossing the snowfield. Each step sinks deep into the frozen crust. Each movement is heavy but purposeful, a quiet reminder that this creature answers to nothing but hunger, cold, and its own stubborn will. It lifts its head, and its eyes find you. Your heart stills. The bear stops mid-stride, massive shoulders low, frost drifting from its plaited fur. It sniffs, pulling your scent into its ancient lungs. The wind favors you again. Your scent is thin, distant, non-threatening. The bear snorts softly, a dismissive sound, a warning, and an acknowledgement. You lower your body slightly, not crouching, but becoming smaller in presence. Your breath flows in slow, steady streams. The bear watches you for a long moment. His gaze is not curious, not cautious, not even interested. You are simply a thing that exists in its world. No more threatening than a stone, no more important than a snowdrift. And strangely, that humility calms you. This creature is not cruel, not malevolent. It simply is, a world unto itself. The bear turns its head toward the ridge behind you, ears twitching. Something there has its attention. Some faint smell, some distant sound, some instinct older than your species. Then, it moves on, slowly, powerfully, with the confidence of a creature that knows it stands alone at the peak of its world. You watch its massive form disappear behind the curtain of snow kicked up by the wind. Only when it is gone does your breath fully return. This is the 36th thing you learn in the Age of Giants. Even the most powerful beings in the world walk alone. You remain at the ridge for a while, feeling the cold seep through your boots, feeling the silence settle back around you like a blanket pulled over your shoulders. The wind softens, the land steadies, your heartbeat slows. For a moment, nothing moves but the drifting snow. You continue onward, descending slightly on the other side of the ridge where the wind lessens and the cold becomes less cruel. Your steps grow easier, your breath fuller. You look back once over your shoulder. The snowfield is empty now, calm, untouched. But you know what walked there, and you know why nothing else does. You walk on, carrying the weight of the last giant's shadow behind you. Ahead, the land flattens again, warmer, softer, more welcoming. Your journey is nearly complete. You have seen giants and forests, valleys, mountains, and ice, but one giant remains. One creature unlike the others, one whose rise will reshape all worlds to come. A creature made not of fur or bone, but of flame, thought, intention. But that belongs to the next section. For now, you take a slow breath. Feel the cold settle gently into your lungs and step into the softening light, leaving the last solitary titan behind.
The world grows quieter now. You step away from the valley of firelight, and the sounds of the past fall gently behind you. The footfalls of mammoths, the breath of cave bears, the soft laughter of ice hunters, the whisper of ancient winds. They drift like distant echoes, fading but never lost. The land around you softens into shadow. The sky deepens into a slow blue wash. Your footsteps settle into a peaceful rhythm, almost like the beating of a gentle drum. In the distance, a thin line of smoke rises from a small fire. Not fierce, not wild, just warm. Humans. A reminder that even in a world of giants, it was the smallest creature who learned to hold a piece of the sun. You inhale, and the air feels gentler now, carrying hints of earth instead of snow, warmth instead of winter. The long journey through the age of giants begins to fold itself quietly into memory. Every creature you have walked beside, the towering titans, the deep-voiced hunters, the silent watchers of the plains, they settle like soft constellations at the edge of your mind. You feel them there, not as danger, not as threat, but as a presence. Old companions. The ground beneath your feet becomes level. The wind grows calm. The world around you exhales. A warm hush spreads through the darkness, thick, comforting, slow. Your body loosens as if the earth itself is gently lowering you into rest. Muscles unclench, thoughts quiet. Breathing deepens into something easy and natural. Above you, stars begin to appear. One, then another, then dozens, glimmering softly like the eyes of creatures who have seen everything and asked for nothing in return. You tilt your head back for a moment. They feel familiar, almost like old friends. You keep walking until the path widens into a small clearing, a circle of earth surrounded by soft grass and low stone. A place untouched by the roar of giants or the cold of rising ice. A place made for endings or beginnings. You sit. The night settles around you like a thick, warm blanket. Your heartbeat slows, your breath becomes calm and deep, matching the rhythm of the dark. In the distance, the world of giants continues, beyond mountains, beyond valleys, beyond the reach of time. But it no longer feels far away. It feels carried, held.
You close your eyes, and the final truth of your journey reveals itself. Not in sound, not in sight, but in the quiet space inside your chest. You were never just walking through their world. You were remembering your own. The age of giants fades, but the peace of it stays. Still, warm, steady, like a hand on your shoulder, like a fire beside you, like a memory that hums softly long after the voice falls silent. You take one last slow breath and let yourself drift downward into rest. The journey is complete. The giants sleep, and now, so do you.